Dear God, please turn me to a bird so I can fly far, far away. Wrong movie. It's the wrong movie. Hey guys, welcome back. It's the sloppy road to Halloween. We found all kinds of things down this road, all right? I found Mark, he found me, all right? So we're not alone, all right? I generally like to be alone, but if I'm in a strange, weird place, I mean, that's just strength in numbers. And I've known Mark a long time, so it's like, at this point, it's comfortability. Like when you get two animals and put them in a house, you're like, I don't know if they'll be friends. And then after a time, they are. And you're like, well, you can't separate them now, They didn't want this, they didn't ask for this, but they're here together. And that's where we're at. In the middle of the sloppy horror road to Halloween. And guys, I'm scared because insects are weird. Insects are freaky, and we're talking about I don't want to say a scary insect movie, but a weird one, a creepy one, maybe the pinnacle of all insect movies. Guys, I'm your host, Scary Movie Companion, Christian Ramey. Sitting across from me, the coolest guy, the best producer, and, a wanted felon right now, actually. I cannot disclose where we are at, but we are here. Don't worry about it. It's Ozark Mark. What's up, everybody? Mark, how are you?
I'm fine. Thank you for that lovely intro. It's the sloppy road to Halloween, bitch. That's right. And we are kicking it. We are kicking it into high gear now. We're going down, and it's getting closer. Leaves are starting to fall. We're approaching some cooler weather, so it's going to be great. It's a very exciting stuff.
Yeah.
And, we're going to kick it off here today with a very classical film. This is a piece of photography.
It is.
What's the movie term for? It's cinematography. Mm-hmm. That's what it is. It's a cinematography.
Mm-hmm. It's a filmy film.
It is a filmy film. So, but yeah, we're talking about The Fly.
The Fly.
The Fly.
Oh God, it's The Fly.
The Fly. So, this came in at 1986 with Jeff Goldblum before he was Jeff Goldblum, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of like how Christopher Walken was before he was Christopher Walken. Same type of deal here.
You're like, oh, this is why they got in the business.
Right.
Like, they were good actors. Like, you're like,
yeah.
oh, wow.
Like, he was a normal dude before whatever happened to him, and he transformed into Jeff Goldblum. Well, I'm not saying I hate Jeff Goldblum.
No,
I love him.
It's just he's definitely was in different kind of movies back then.
Yeah.
But, I tell you what, dude, this is like a, if you took out all the body shit and all the creepy stuff, like the transformation stuff, this is a romance. This is a love story. And I don't really like that love stories too much. And I'm not generally big in that kind of stuff. But these people, Gina Davis and Jeff Goldblum, they felt real people. This is the kind of love story you could bring me into, where I'm like, oh, shit, dude. Like, this is a story. Like, you actually feel for their love. Because there's something inside of me. I don't know if I'm just so predetermined or just so, like, pre-natured to horror that, like, when I see something, like, horny on screen, I'm like, well, someone kill these people. Like, I don't, like...
Did you say horny or corny?
Corny.
Oh, okay.
Corny. Like, when somebody's, I love you, babe. Like, I want Jason to pop out and just, like, yeah, fuck your stupid love story. Like, I hate this movie. I don't want to feel all good. Don't take me on a weird little roller coaster and be like, see, everyone's happy. That's not how all things roll. I want the end of the movie where we'd be like, oh, you thought you killed the killer? Ha ha ha. Credits. Like, that's what I like because it helps the way I am. I can't just take a normal little stupid Hallmark movie, but this kind of love story, that's what it was, dude. Like, it's a sad love story.
Yeah, it's a very sad ending.
Yeah, dude, it's sad, but I tell you, it's a movie that I find... It belongs to, like, I don't know if, like, we've ever even gave, like, a category for this, but just one of those, like, unforgettable categories. I mean, I definitely like to watch this over and over, but, like, I feel like if somebody watched this once, they would remember it forever.
Sure.
Back when you had, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's plenty of not CGI, practical effects in it, but lots of acting. Lots of good acting, lots of talking, so... And any of those kind of movies, you got to do a good job. And it's pretty well. So I guess we do have a lot to get into, Mark. a lot to get into. But before we do all that, if you are enjoying the Sloppy Horror Road to Halloween here on YouTube, I will urge you to subscribe to the channel because it's completely for free to do and it helps us out big time. It helps move it around in the algorithm. Like the video, let us know where you're from, what you think of the video and of the movie itself. Or whatever you want to say, really, I don't care. But also, audio listener, Spotify, Apple Podcast, open up that phone, give us 5 stars, and then give a little review. So that way, when people look up the show, they'll see that people are enjoying it. It means the world. And as you guys know, because we are in a new season, it's new season, so that means new t-shirts. You guys get those while they're out. Now, this season's a little bit longer than the rest of the season, so obviously we have all the way till Halloween, but guess what? November 1st, it's over. You missed out, pal. Sorry, Charlie, no shirt for you. So if you want one, if you want to throw one on, you got to take a look and find it. Now, I will say I do want to be a little bit better because the distributor we use for, the shirts and stuff, they do throw sales and stuff, but we have no control on the dates that they throw the sales on the product. But what I can do is maybe start making more Instagram posts kind of highlighting the days that these sales are happening so you guys have an idea, because sometimes it really is like there's like buy one get one or like 25% off, and it's
What?
like, yeah, it's
There's
like
buy one get one.
yeah, dude, and it's like
When the we need to I need to know when that stuff is.
I know, dude. I know. And I will be better about that. So my apologies there. It's just because if I controlled them, I feel like I would. But honestly, it's like every week I feel like they do something. So it's like I don't want you guys to buy at the wrong time. It's like if you could wait 10 hours and get it for 50% off or some shit.
What a deal.
Yeah, do that. So now that we're all caught up with those preliminaries, we need to fill the shoes.
Fill the fuse, walk the path of the wicked. Unleash the fury, let the chaos reign.
Do you know a fly was also almost called a land? Because that's what it does half the time.
I see what you did there.
Get it?
I
A
see what you
land.
I see what you
Because
did
it's
there.
a fly. Woo. All right, fill the shoes, sorry.
That's no. I like what you did there.
It was a funny joke.
So this movie, The Fly, it came out on. Let me. I want to double check this here because it was August, and I know it was August, but I think it was the 16th. But I just
I'm
want.
going to say the 19th.
This movie came out on. Let's see, August 15th,
Damn it.
1986.
Close enough.
The Fly.
Was within the week.
So obviously it's the 80s. We got stuff wrestling's popping off.
Oh, yeah.
People are getting perms and mullets and all of these fun things. I feel like the 80s, people do have a pretty good grasp of what was popular in culture at that time. But to give you more specifics, if we're gonna hone in there, I think we should look at what movies were the most popular. The Fly came out, it went to number 1. But also top at the time, Armed and Dangerous, Aliens, the sequel with an S, The Karate Kid 2, An American Tale, remember with Lil Feifel? Remember the little
Yeah.
cartoon? Yep, that was good. Top Gun,
Yeah.
Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives.
Yeah.
That was out. Ferris Bueller's Day Out, Howard the Duck.
Is it day off? It's day off, not day out.
Yeah, that's what I said.
You said day out.
Oh, I did?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Okay. You confused me there.
Ferris Bueller comes out. I'm coming. That movie still gets me to this day.
That's not a bad lineup of movies there in 86.
Yeah, Stand By Me. There's some great flicks that dropped.
Yeah.
If you want to be a little bit more specific about what music was number 1, if you were going to the theaters on the release night,
What was I bumping on my stereo?
well, I'd tell you the number 1 song on the radio at the time was Papa Don't Preach by Madonna. All right? The Cone Titties were out. She was
Yeah.
doing her thing. Like a Virgin, she was doing her thing.
Like
All
a
right.
traffic sight.
Yeah. Yep. Some of these other ones, I'm not really sure. Glory of Love was number 2. That was from the Karate Kid movie. Mad About You from Belinda Carlisle. I don't know if I know that one. Now, number 4, I do know. Steve Winwood's Higher Love. Give me your higher love. Oh. You would totally recognize that one if that was on. It's a
Probably.
song that's always on.
Probably. It's hard to decipher it sometimes the way you do it.
Yeah, I'm not.
I'm not
killing
saying
it
you're
the best.
bad. It's just, you know.
No, just say it, dude. Just I heard what you said loud and clear.
It's not good.
All right, the next song. I love this song. Timex Social Club, Rumors. Oh, dude, it's
Look
one
at all these rumors.
Surrounding me every day. Yeah, that's still a banger. So, some events that happened that year. Chernobyl, that's when that disaster happened. Also, when the Challenger disaster happened, we'll get the disasters out of the way.
Jeez.
Yeah, that was the debut, the first year of Oprah. And I believe the first win from Mike Tyson in his little journey. Okay. Our sports champions that year. Your 1986 World Series champions were the New York Mets. The 1986 NFL Super Bowl champions were the Chicago Bears.
Huh.
That was that time with Jim McMahon,
Yeah.
the primetime Bears.
Yeah.
Your 1986 NBA Finals champions were the Boston Celtics, and your NHL Stanley Cup champions that year were the Canadiens.
The Canadians.
So that's where we were at. That's what was going on. If you were alive, if you remember those things, welcome back to Fly Time.
I wasn't.
Yep. It missed me by 3 years.
I was not alive.
Nope. I had to be alive for a little time to hear about these events and understand.
But now we know, so that's good. All right. So now we're in 1986. Bang. All right. I'm going in, walking into the theater to see The Fly. So what can I expect to see? Or
Those are the kind of words you just say. Like, if you have people you don't like, you just say wrong. Just say a bunch of shit wrong on purpose. Like, like, irregardless, man. I'm going to the theater later. And
theater.
all right, dude. I'm going to have to stop you. What do you mean? That's what I said. Theater.
All right. Give me a little synopsis of the Fly.
All right. So what we have here is a fly. And he flies. And he flies all around. No. That's not what happens. What we have is a scientist, played by Jeff Goldblum, and his name is Seth Brindle. And Seth, he's really into computer shit. He's really into, he wants to like make a transportation device, kind of like the pods, where you get in one and then you transport to the other, kind of like some Willy Wonka shit, like that little boy did, like the chocolate bar, teleportation, if you will. Really into that. And he's been doing it with all kinds of shit around his house. But not living things, but he's able to put things inside of this pod, hit the button on his little computer, and it'll show up in the other pod. But he's really, really, really dead set on making this, doing it with a human. He wants to be the scientist, the biggest scientist of all time. He really does love science. I would say that his intentions aren't nefarious. It isn't like for money. Like, he doesn't want the fame and everything, but he just loves science and wants to figure this out. Well, he ends up meeting this reporter who initially, she's played by Gina Davis, and initially she kind of wants a story on him, and like she still does, but eventually she falls for him. And what happens throughout this time, he falls in love with her, she falls in love with him, and during this time they fall more in love with the research that they're doing, that he's doing, supporting the project. Well, there's an ex-boyfriend that Gina Davis has, I'll say Veronica, her character's name, and she goes out one night to kind of like get rid of him, to deal with him, and Seth's in his feelings. He gets drunk and he's like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna do this, experiment by myself. That was one of probably my favorite scenes.
I know, but listen to me. You have been giving me shit for the past 2 episodes about being a woman hater. Now, I'm not a woman hater, right? But I'm just making observations of the world around me. What happened? What caused this motherfucker to go downhill? What caused the whole thing to go awry?
His feelings. And his lack of control of them.
Because of?
His own feelings?
Just say it. You know you want to say it too. But anyway, continue.
She wasn't doing anything wrong. She broke up with that guy.
I know, but it doesn't
He
matter.
got too antsy.
But it
It's
does,
like, you know, when
but
you
it's
get a...
still his fault. It's his fault because of something else's fault, right?
He got
She
in his
wasn't-
feelings.
she
I mean, that's why
wasn't there.
wars are fought. I'm not denying that, dude.
Yeah.
There's been, like, legendary wars. I'm not
just
denying
saying,
that.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. But yes, so he decides to go into the pod by himself because he's drunk off champagne with his bamboo.
Yep.
Or, what is it?
Baboon?
Yeah, baboon. What did I say? Bamboo?
Baboon.
Baboon.
Bamboo. He's in there with some trees.
Yeah, baboon.
Yeah, that was funny. But he gets into this pod to do it because he's in his feels, and he's just like, he's kind of like a kid on Christmas almost. They're like, you know, when you gotta like wait to open something for somebody to get there, he just couldn't handle that. He just wanted to do it, and he did. And he goes in, and when he closes the pod, a fly flies in there with him. He doesn't notice it, and this machine does teleport him, but it morphs him with the fly, like it merges their DNA. So he comes out in like the shape of a human in himself, but he starts to change and starts to become a fly. Throughout the movie, he starts to eat a shitload of sugar. He's eating a lot. He gets this crazy strength. It's almost like a superhero movie at first. When Spider-Man realizes he can shoot webs, but it doesn't have the same ending as that. Like Spider-Man tapped off. He just had powers. He didn't like actually turn into a spider. Picture that. Picture if Spider-Man didn't, and he just kept going. And that's what unfortunately happened to Seth, and he ain't make it. He didn't make it, but it looked cool as hell. The transformation, all the CGI, and what's really neat about it is he was fully aware of what was going on with him, and eventually he was cool with it for the... I don't want to say cool with it, but he understood that, like, from a science standpoint, like, I have to, like, document this. I have to do certain things. And that's what he was doing. And you're like, dude, it's like a Dr. Frankenstein gone wrong. I don't know why those kind of stories are always attractive. Like, the mad scientist who just, like, can't control, like, he makes something he can't control. Like, that's always a cool story.
Dude, that's so shitty, though. It's like, you got to take it all because of a little fucking fly, dude. Like, I would be so mad if I was him.
I know.
I wouldn't have kept going. I would have fucking offed myself. Like, dead serious. If I once I realized it's like I'm turning into a fucking huge fly, hell no.
Yeah, once it got graphic, probably so. But, like, that first week where he's, like, fucking real long and he's, like, doing, like... Because the first, like, day or two, he looked good, bro. Dude, he was doing all crazy kind of calisthenics and, like, exercises.
He was all jacked up. Like, dude just went on, like, a massive coke bend or something. Just felt invincible.
That's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, shit, I got the Spider-Man vibes. You're like, hell yeah, this is a cool thing. Is my man going to be able to fight crime? Is he going to be able to, like, tap in and out of this when he gets angry? Like, what's the secret? Nah. Your human side's just going away slowly.
Yeah.
Dude, as a coffee drinker, like, when he's drinking that coffee and he puts all that fucking sugar in there, I was like, oh my God, dude, that's so much sugar. Like, that's so much sugar. Like, it would have been sediment. You remember when you were like a little boy? When you were a little boy, because little boys are not trusted to cook things. Your mom's not trusting you to cook things until you reach a certain age. Maybe late elementary school, but you're not cooking things at 6 or 7. But you are allowed to pour yourself a bowl of cereal. And when you would get a bowl of Rice Krispies, you would pour sugar in it. Because you're not just eating it by itself, you pour sugar in it. But at that age, you don't have your ratios down, right? And you get to the bottom of that milk, bro, and there's fucking sediments at the bottom. It's like a milk sugar river. And at the bottom, you're just scraping. And that's, you know, that's what he was eating. That's what he was drinking. And I was like, dude, there's a fly in here.
I know. Just let it go.
How appropriate.
I don't know. He finally got his episode.
He did. But I don't know why that was, like, even more so because, like, you know, I don't know. I've seen Freddy turn people into cockroaches. Like, you just know, like, even though it looks really, really good, like, you know it's not real. But, like, somebody just pouring coffee or sugar in their coffee, that's a scenario, like, you would be in. And if, like, you were just eating dinner with somebody and somebody was doing that, you'd be like, bro, bro, hey.
Dude, it was just solid. It was just solid sugar. Like,
Yeah.
God.
Like, if your dude just ate like 9 candy bars in front of you, you'd be like, what is going on?
yeah,
Like, what are you doing?
something wrong there.
Yeah. Like, are you high? Because, like, I am too. And, like, I just ate a couple gummy worms. Like, you just ate 9 Butterfingers, king-sized. Yeah, you reach a certain age, like, you just know how you're going to feel after that. Like, you don't feel good. Like, sugar, I love sweets, but, like, you can't, like, just fucking, I don't know, you can't just eat candy all day and wake up the next day because you will feel like trash. Like, just a human trash bag. Like, there's not a secret, like, if you eat some just, like, I don't want to say bland, but, like, more bland food good for you, feel great. Like, didn't you hear that thing? I don't know if it was Richard Simmons, who the fuck said it, but it's like, when you're, like, strict with your diet, like, or if you're, like, eating things that are good for you, it is not fun in that time. But later on, when you feel good about yourself, that's fun. But, like, when you eat shitty food, it's really good in that moment. Like, you feel good eating that shitty food, but you feel like shit later. And you're like, oh, that's totally true. That totally makes sense. Like, I never really thought of it like that, but that is a good thing. And, like, when you're young, 20 years old, you don't give a fuck, bro. You reach a certain age, go ahead, dog. Go ahead, eat all that shit. Watch what happens to you, bro. Like, what? Go ahead. Next day, you're like, my sciatica. Everything will hurt you. Like,
My sciatica.
yeah, like shit like that. Yeah, this pops. You know, like shit. Yeah, it acts up. Things like after a certain age, you just like deal with. Remember that Louis C.K. thing? He's like, yeah, nobody told me that. You go into the doctor after a certain point, and they just stop trying to help it. They're just like, yeah, it's just like that now. And you're like, what do I do? Just nothing. You're just older. And you're just like, we're not fixing the problem. So when you see somebody doing something that egregious, like I don't know if that stood out to anybody as extreme as it did to me. Like, obviously there's crazy, not gore, but just like over the top nasty looking shit throughout the movie. Didn't bother me. It was cool, gnarly. I enjoyed it. It was like his diet, his hygiene, the shit that was like, ew, the fingernails. Like, that little shit got me. Where you're
like he's peeling off his fingernails and teeth are falling out, and he just collected them all in his like medicine cabinet.
Dude, and then how he had to eat his food, how he was like spitting on it. It was cool that they were accurate to what flies did.
Yeah, I got that, but it's just like, it's a fly. So you normally don't see that, but now you're finally seeing it in a big form. You're like, oh, that's actually very disgusting.
Super disgusting, dude. And this is obviously like a remake, but not a true remake. This is a kind of like The Thing situation.
Yeah, because there was one made in like 1956 or something, right?
There was.
Okay.
There was. And what I'm here to tell you is that the original Fly was good, but it just didn't necessarily have, it was 58, I'm sorry. I just wanted to double check that. Cool film. Love that. Vincent Price, like some old school legendary people, but what David Cronenberg did was he made it his own. When you say The Fly, this is the movie that I think of, because it's, I don't want to say like, ooh, I'm like crying sad, but it's just like, damn, dude, it's like a love story. Like, I would like, well, that's a drama I would enjoy to watch. Like, you're like, it's a heartfelt thing, man. Even John Wick is that way because of his fucking dog. You're like, this is no longer an action movie. This is serious. Like, you're like, motherfucker's got his dog. Hey now. Like, I'm gonna watch it to the credits. Like, that was a good recipe. And when you could figure out that, like, that kind of, because men generally don't get sucked into this kind of thing. I don't know. I don't want to speak for all men, but just generally, romantic comedy, man, go fuck yourself. But if a lady, like, had something like this, something modern like this, where you're like, oh, shit, my man's turning into what now? You're like, oh, I'm in.
Get sucked into it.
Yeah, you're like, oh, I'm in now. But Cronenberg, he's master of body horror. If you think like Videodrome, you think of Scanners. The things he can do with body stuff I know we've talked about this movie for a long time. I feel like I've asked you like 4 or 5 times on this show if we've covered this movie.
Probably. Maybe.
If
I
we
don't
covered
know.
The Fly, and you're like, I don't think so.
We're almost like 150 episodes in. I don't know, probably.
So, quickly, though, I will ask, was this your first time seeing this one?
Yeah.
Just initial thoughts, impressions, whatever. Kind of curious.
No, it was.
It's always I'm always interested for the fact too, because like you're just like you enjoy horror, but like you like movies, but you're not like you could give two shits about like the crazy shit, but you know how to like make movies too.
Yeah, well,
so
this
it's
is-
like you're
this
such
is-
an interesting take.
Look, I like this movie just because it's acting based. So those are always refreshing sometimes. Like I can't watch these types of movies all the time. Just like I can't watch slasher movies all the time. I can't watch superhero movies all the time. But I mean, this is a good one to have in the arsenal, and it's a good. To me, this is like a Sunday evening.
Yep.
Sunday afternoon.
Chili on the stove.
Yeah. Movie like that. But it's a very great. It's a great story, and it's an interesting story, and it doesn't have a happy ending, which is good. It's always refreshing to get to.
Yeah.
It's like just it's interesting because like this dude's gonna turn into a fly. What?
Yeah.
Like you don't normally see stuff like this.
Such a weird take. So, yeah, such a weird story.
But you're watching it like this could actually probably happen.
Yeah, like you feel like if
If some dude was actually inventing teleportation between pods, it's very logical that a fucking fly could fly in there without you knowing, and then you could combine the two.
like how high do you have to be to think of that? Like
I don't know, not
that's such-
really.
Like that's but like I'm saying like to think of like you're just sitting there by yourself like. Wouldn't that be crazy, man? Somebody was teleporting, right? And then
But it makes sense, though. I mean,
like-
it's logical because when you teleport something, everybody basic knowns of teleportation is you're breaking everything down and reassembling it somewhere else.
Look, Mom,
So
I'm
that's
on
the whole
TV.
thing. So when you put a fly in there, like that would happen. Like that's a realistic thing. If you're breaking down something and transporting it to someone else, it's a stupid fly could fucking fly in real quick and you don't know about it and then recreate something and turn you into a big human fly and then you'd fucking hate your life and
Then what?
ask to get blown away by a shotgun by the girl you love.
Yeah,
Like,
it-
it's
it-
all realistic.
It took a while for him to get the recipe down too, because he couldn't do it with certain objects. He started with like steak and pieces of meat, but then when he set the one baboon in there, he just like it turned inside out. Like it,
Yeah.
that was nuts. But when that girl left and he's drunk, drinking with the other one, he was like, "I'm sorry I killed your brother." I don't know why that made me laugh so hard. Like, "I'm sorry I killed your brother." Like, it just came out so like plain. Like that's not something you say plainly. Like it just roll past. "I'm sorry I killed your brother." Oh.
Where does he get a baboon at?
I don't know.
And where does he get a second one?
I don't.
Where is he keeping them? I have questions. How do you get to live in this abandoned warehouse? How is there fucking power there? What the fuck is happening?
Yeah, that place would cost today, you know what I mean, like $5,000 a month or more.
Yeah.
Baboons are scary, but I loved that one. Like, I loved when he, like, transported him when he was with his girl for the first time and it just hopped out and hugged him.
Yeah.
What is it about animals when they hug humans where it is so funny? It's like, in my mind, I always call it like the Scooby-Doo factor. You remember, like, how Scooby would, like, run up and hug Shaggy and they would be like, "Oh!" My dog's the same fucking way, dude. Like, if she gets super, like, nervous, she'll, like, hug you. When an animal hugs a human, it is the funniest fucking thing in the world to me. I don't care what species of animal, but if it hugs you, it's just funny. You're just like, I mean, I guess there's, like, the, oh, but usually they're not, like, it's usually when they're freaked out. And that's exactly what happened. Like, that pod door opened, and he was like, ah! And he, like, ran up and hugged them, like, oh, my God, what's happening?
Maybe show something. I wish this was like more acceptable in society because there's a part where they're first together and all that, and she asks him, he's like, "Did you change your clothes?" He's like, "No, they're clean." And she looks at his wardrobe, and it's all the same thing, like the same fucking outfit. It's like he's a cartoon character. She's like, "Why do you have all the same outfits?" He's like, "Oh, I learned it from Einstein. So that way I don't have to think about what I have to wear. I just put it on and go. That's convenient.
Dude, it really
If I had
is.
5 of the same outfit every day, I wouldn't have to worry about what I'm fucking wearing. It'd be like a cartoon character, but it would be nice.
Dude, yeah, I mean,
That should be more acceptable in society. I'm telling you.
I agree. Yeah, this is what you know me as.
Yeah.
Her boyfriend, her ex-boyfriend, was played by John Getz, and his name was Stathis, and this guy was...
Before you get into that, I don't want to cut you off.
Oh, is it time?
It's time. We can't
Let's
miss
do it.
Hello, good to see you. Welcome to the What Do You Know here. This is a segment here where we're here to tell you something that you may or may not know about this movie. Now, you may know what we know, you may not know what we know, but if you know what we know, you're going to have a we know gasm. If you don't know what we know, you better find out what we know, and you're going to have a we go gasm. So why don't you tell me something that you may or may not know about this movie, The Fly?
Looky, I came in here. We was waiting in the other room. I heard those two fucking retards. They was saying something about the baboon, the monkey, running around. He's a little monkey, a primate. I don't know what the fuck the difference is.
He's a baby baboon.
Yeah, well, I don't know monkeys, primates, there's all orangutans. They all belong to different families.
They're all
It's like my
gorillas.
cousin Teresa. She's my third cousin, but, it's my uncle's, half-blood. He's not the whole thing. So I don't know how it works. I don't know how any of this works. Crocodile, alligator. It doesn't make sense. They're green with teeth. You know what I mean? They're big and scary. Fucking dinosaurs. Anyways, the point that I'm making here is I heard these two people talking about this damn monkey, primate,
It's a baboon.
barebone. He's got a red ace. Well, apparently, they're saying, this a little trained guy. He's a little trained guy to get, give him little bananas when he does good. I don't think so. They said that this was a wild animal, and they said his name was Typhoon. Typhoon, a baboon named Typhoon. And apparently, he would get freaked out sometimes. And, they put him in that little pod and they start putting all the strobes on. He started fucking freaking out, started spazzing out, and he broke the door off. And Jeff Goldblum developed like a relationship with him, but Jeff Goldblum's like 6'4". He's like a big guy, right? So him and a wrangler were the only two that could get this fucking baboon in check. And they said, like, if that wouldn't have happened, it could have got real crazy on set. But could you imagine if, this fucking thing, it ripped your arms
It's
off.
just a wild animal.
These fucking guys,
Fuck that.
They come in here, they start biting and scratching and doing
Look,
their
I don't
thing.
care how much you pay me. I ain't gonna get in no wild animal.
You
You
ever
better
see-
get a trained one in there or something. That's nuts.
You ever seen one of them things scream with the teeth? No
Yeah.
way. But,
It's not good.
But I also want to tell you, this is a nice little touch. Nice little touch. As we mentioned, the horror legend himself, Vincent Price. Mr. Vincent Price. He was in the original The Fly. Well, Jeff Goldblum, he decided, hey, we're redoing this movie here. I want to write a letter to Mr. Vincent Price. And he did. And he said, look, Mr. Vincent Price, making your movie, I hope you like it as much as I liked yours. Well, Vincent Price wrote him back. He's like, thank you. I appreciate it. I went to see it. And he said it was really good up until a certain point. Then it got a little too much, But Vincent Price, he comes from the old school day, and this movie is a little gross. It's a little nasty, We're used to these kind of things now, but this was,
He's not used to all the taboo.
No, he didn't know about all that. But he didn't say it was bad.
It's probably the baboon that freaked him out.
He didn't say bad. He said gross, and it's like, well, it is gross. I'm not going to deny that it is kind of gross.
Well, it's a human fly. It's gross. I mean, you got to get it. You got to get it. You got to get it.
It's gross.
Yes.
Now, those are the two facts. I got two facts there.
The green with teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I got 2 facts for you.
Oh, you got it.
First fact up here on the fact roller coaster here. You know how long it took to do the fly makeup towards the end of the movie? It took about 5 hours a day.
5 hours, Jesus.
5 hours a day. It doesn't. That seems kind of not long for something extensive as that. But I think that's pretty impressive for 5 hours.
To
get
sit
all
there that long and then you got to shoot,
Yeah, you gotta shoot. You gotta shoot.
That's a long
Shoot.
day.
I know, and if you fuck up any scenes, guess what? 5 hours tomorrow. Put it all on and take it all off and put it back all on again. And to get the consistency with that, that's some talent there.
With the
But yeah, it
lighting.
took 5 hours. Here's another one. Do you want to know what the fly ooze that was coming out of his mouth?
The secret of the ooze.
Yeah, you know what the white ooze was made of? You know what it consisted of?
No.
It looks pretty fucking nasty.
Yeah.
But it's made from milk, eggs, and honey.
Whoa. That makes sense.
It doesn't.
That
That sounds like a breakfast recipe. Honestly, I feel
it sounds like something that goes in something. You know what I mean?
I feel like if you just put that on a pan and bake it up a little bit, it might be a tasty treat.
Yeah. It feels like that's something you like add to a cake or something. You know, that sounds good.
It does look. It looked kind of like cake icing or something.
Yep.
It looked like a bunch of nut to me, but you know.
Some semen. Some semen.
Looked like a bunch of. It was very.
You ever seen that meme where it was a picture of a guy that dropped a toaster strudel on the bed and the caption said, "My wife is never gonna believe this"?
Yeah. It looked like toaster strudel cream. You know, it looked like some man cream. But, it was a very actually tasty combination. You know, don't let your eyes deceive you. But you know, there you go. There you go. That's what I know.
That's good stuff there. That's 4 facts. That's that's more than usual.
That's a lot of facts for the fly there.
Well, it's a legendary movie. They, I had to deliver a few.
Yeah, you got to pay the 2 homage there.
The Fly.
You know anything else?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, well, I should get it done. Be done. We're done. Goodbye.
Mark, I do. I mean, before we got, we were interrupted by those guys. I was just thinking about the character, Gina Davis's boyfriend. Stathis, that guy. That guy, I'm telling you, if I think of what I would be like in the 80s if I was older, and there's many different archetypes. I could see, obviously like the burnout, like, rock and roll kind of artist person. Like, I could totally see that. But there's a small part of me where I feel like I would be a really smug, like yuppie, somebody that's like got like an office with all mahogany and an office. I listen to a lot of yacht rock and do a lot of cocaine, and I'm like listening to like Steely Dan, and I just mansplain to like every woman. Like, that's how that guy like just come on, dog. Like, just everything he says is just like an inconvenience. Like, everybody he talks to is probably that way. He goes through a drive-through, he's just like he's just never like. I feel like that's what I would have been. There's a small part of me that feels like I would have lived that life, just rocking out to some Steely Dan, maybe some America, just listening to some yacht rock, investing in trust funds.
He was saying some wild stuff.
Crazy stuff.
I had the worst time. I had the worst time. He's like, so it's like an emotional fucking standpoint. He's like, is it okay if I claim your body after this?
Yeah.
What the fuck did you just say, dude? Like.
Remember when he met her out in public because she like spent the night at his place and she is writing a story on him and she was like, "Look, I'm working on something big here." He said, "What is cock?" Like, oh my god, bro.
What store were they in too? That there's just a pool table in the middle of the store.
I don't know.
Where are these places at?
I don't know.
Everything about all of that. It's like fucking.
My man went 0 to 10. What is cock? You're like, jeez, bro, relax.
Dude, there was some out-of-pocket things, dude. It was also during the point, like Jeff Goldblum says, it's like this is when he was like first like getting all of his strength together, and he was like hyped up and like going a mile a minute. And he just looks at her, he's like, "You're a drag." Like, what the fuck did you just say?
I'm telling you.
Oh my god,
fellas, there's a little. I mean, I've discussed this many a times on the show because my oldest went to college, so I'm like down a lady in the house, but lived with ladies a long time, and I'm telling you, he walked into the room, he blew the place up, right? He got in a fight with her, or like there was kind of a fight where she walked out to go report his story. He didn't want her to leak it necessarily. He wanted to get it figured out, and he knew that there was this kind of tension between him and her. And what do you do when there's tension between you and your lady? He walked up and he said, "I have one word for you. Cheeseburger." And then that just shows them eating. Bro, if you replace that with any kind of like tacos and margaritas, burgers and shakes, like whatever like that, you will win the day. I don't care what kind of argument you have had. They will get over said argument because he'll get excited. And that's exactly what happened. They didn't even like show her say yes. It just cut scene to her eating a burger. Like, and I was like, that worked. He's like, I don't want to argue with her. I don't want to talk about this anymore. So I'm just coming in with the one word, cheeseburger. It's just like, that was like dad logic. Like, yeah, I don't fuck what you're talking about. Let's get some burgers. Like, let's eat some food. And I dug that. That was really funny to me how he just evaded everything she was talking about. Like, nah.
It's a very easy solution
Let's-
for those who, have the logic and have been down the road.
What happened? They ate a cheeseburger? Pound Town.
Yeah, they went to Pound Town after that.
Yep, all because he fed her.
It's not that easy in real life, but it works in movies.
Well, you got to get that little dramatic little start. You know, he had that little tension beforehand, and then it's just like tacos and marks, and then you're going to be in there. In there like swimwear, pal.
Yeah.
And then you get tacos and margaritas. It's kind of a win-win. It's kind of a win-win. I do like, that was some of my favorite qualities, though, watching him transform, his exercising, his eating. I'm glad that they showed him, like, fucking. Like, they were, like, fucking, and he was going forever. There was just this, like, it got to a point where it was, like, it almost looked like it was doing good for him, and then, like, it started going downhill for him. I thought they just did a really good job at kind of displaying that. It didn't go too quickly. It wasn't like, I'm a fly now. Like, it wasn't just immediate. Like, it took some time.
Yeah.
And
half the time you're starting to think, it's like, maybe I should get a fly in the thing and I can have superpowers and shit, too.
yeah,
But
dude. Like, I'm going to mix it with something else in here. Like, what animal could I hold in here, Go in there with the chihuahua, I don't know. See what happens.
Go in there with, like, a bird or something. Maybe you could fly.
Oh. Yeah, I don't like birds that much, so, like, I don't know. But we got to find something we like.
Yeah.
Porcupine. That'd be a cool power.
A porcupine?
Yeah. You could just get all spiny. I don't know, but we think about it. We could how about we put other people in there to test it first?
Yeah, put it in there like a skunk.
Yeah, we'll put pedophiles in there. We'll like run them through. Because no one would care.
No. Let's put a lightning bug in there. Ooh.
A bear,
I don't think they could fit, but dude,
a
that'd be
baby
nuts.
bear. You
Okay.
start,
All right.
dude. That'd be crazy.
No, dude, I would put in one of those lizards that can run across water. Oh man, you get like super speed or something. You can run across water.
I'll tell you a real
That would
life
be some
scary
dope-ass
animal.
shit
Yeah,
right
that'd be
there.
awesome. A Komodo dragon.
Yeah.
That thing's not chill at all. I don't like him. That's how my son would say it. He's not chill. No, he's not chill, son. He's not chill. He's scary. That's once again, there are certain animals that just never died. Sharks, alligators, Komodo dragons, like they're just been here. Those are dinosaurs. Like that is a dinosaur, not like ha ha hee hee. No, actually, they've never died. They've been here for a long ass time. That's why they look like that. You're just like, nope. I love to fish. I'm not fishing in Florida in certain places. Go fuck yourself, dude. No. Like, oh yeah, there's alligators in here. I'm sorry, what? We're not. We have to go then. Like, I'm no way, bro. Like, one of them fuckers come out of the water, dude. I would shit my pants. I would die. So, no. You just got to be smart. And that's what we'll do. We're going to figure it out. There's a sequel, which I enjoy. I think you would like the sequel too, but this is a movie that needs to be checked off the box. And like really, Cronenberg is a legendary director, but we're talking 4 or 5 films that people generally talk about when they're speaking of him. And I want to say this is the second one that we've crossed off because I know we've done Scanners. Trying to think of what else we have covered, but I want to knock a lot of his out because he's the king of body horror. Nobody be doing it like he be doing it. And he just made a movie recently. Crash. Oh, yeah, I love Crash. That's a good one, too. Now, Shivers, The Dead Zone. Do you remember The Dead Zone?
Yeah, we did the Dead Zone.
Yeah, that was good.
The Dead Zone.
I fucking love that movie. Him on that roller coaster is so funny. With that stupid-ass Glinda haircut. That's another one of those Sunday flicks where you're like,
Wow.
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 Yeah, Christopher Walken on a roller coaster? Yes.
Christopher Walken on anything? Yes.
Yes. Yep. I could spend hours doing that. I could watching him do anything, trying to set up like his video camera, like a for a Zoom call. Whoa, hey, why is this filter here? Hey, I'm a cat, you know. I would die of laughter. I could watch that man cut grass.
Yeah.
Certain people are just funny.
Yeah.
But fits in the same category of like that Sunday easygoing kind of movie. But the road to Halloween tends to turn up. It tends to. That's how we've generally done it. We've started with some good movies, and then it works into some crazy.
You think so?
Yeah.
Well, let's see what this rates on the world famous One of a Kind Sloppy Horror Podcast rating then.
Sloppy horror rating, baby, yeah!
Yeah. Welcome back to the world famous One of a Kind, world renowned, world record setting, first of its kind and last of its kind Sloppy Horror Podcast rating. This is a rating system that we use every week on the show, developed by Christian Ramey, your very scary movie companion. He has developed a horror movie rating system to tell you exactly what kind of level and what type of horror movie you can expect to watch when you watch this movie. So you get exactly what you're in the mood for. You might be in the mood for a 2 or an 8 or a 10, it's whatever. It's going to tell you exactly what you're fucking gonna get. It's right there. It's right there. It's right fucking there. If you didn't hear that before. So, how are we going to do this? We're going to do this as a series of 4 categories. 3 categories worth 3 points. Last category is worth 1 point for a total up.
10 points altogether.
Yeah, 10's a good number. 10's a good number. It's been a good
easy.
number.
Yeah.
It's been a good number forever. So we decided to adapt that. So, let's get into the first category here in the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating, and that is casting.
This one's going to have to deserve a 3. Not only for the actors themselves, but for the performance itself. Jeff literally turned into a fly and was believable, and Gina was heartbroken, and it was just incredible performance. That's the backbone of this movie. I have to give it a 3.
You have to. I mean, you usually have to go 3 when you have these types of movies. It makes sense. That's what I expected. So 3 out of 10 so far here. Sloppy Horror Podcast ratings. Getting to the second category here in the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating, and that is kills.
So it's going to be a half a point because we're only dealing with one death, right? Right, just his death? Or the baboon, I guess, if you want to count that.
Yeah, the baboon died, and then, just Jeff Goldblum died. But
So-
there is death on screen, so you have to give it something.
You got to give it something, and as far as like a gore factor, this would rate pretty cool. Like, not blood and guts necessarily, but some nasty shit throughout the whole movie where you're pretty freaked out. Some blood and guts. Like, even when he went into the bar and arm wrestled that guy, that's one of my favorite scenes, and he, like, snapped his arm.
I know, that's a common fear I think everybody has of arm wrestling.
Yeah, I'm never arm wrestling. Like, no.
No,
I've
I
seen
hate
too
it.
many videos.
I know.
Like, we could do any other, like, strength. Any other strength of test you would like to do. If, like, you had one of those old boxing machines, you want to hit a golf ball, I'm in it, bro. But no, we're not doing that.
No,
Like,
I'm sorry.
we're too old to deal with that injury.
Dude, it's a fear I have. Every time I see arm wrestling, I'm like, dude, I'm just waiting for somebody's arm to snap. You've seen videos of it. Okay, that makes sense. So that's 3.5 so far here in the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating. Let's get into the final 3-point category here in the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating, and that is fear.
Man, it's not very scary at all. I mean, I do want to give it a half a point for some frightening images. You know, maybe you could get some younger kids, like around Halloween time. I don't know. It depends how sensitive they are. A half a point for, like, just kind of like frightening, unsettling imagery, shit that you're just not used to seeing, that's kind of like a gross out factor. But not very scary because you like Jeff Goldblum in this situation, and you like Gina Davis. So there's no real, I guess disease is what you would call it. But the only real villain is the disease itself of him, like, becoming the Fly.
Yeah.
There's no, like, bad guy. There's people you care about, like, you end up liking on screen, and you're hoping that it turns out good in the end. But the horror movie, nice ending of, like, nah, fuck you, go home. Like, you're like, oh, thank you. You feel like you deserve that a little bit. You're like, oh, thank you. Like, when you give me that Hallmark ending, you're like, that's not I don't deserve this. I don't want this. I want you to be real with me. I want you to say, I don't know. They could have lived, could have died. I don't know. Fuck off. Go home. Have a good night. And you're like, thanks, man. Thanks for keeping it real. Like, so I don't know. It's just not that scary. I'd take a half a point for that.
Okay. 4 out of 10 so far here on the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating. This is the last category for 1 point. 1 point, half a point each.
Mm-hmm.
That is rewatchability.
Yep. Yeah, I'm giving it my full half a point for sure.
This is a classic movie. When you got a classic movie, classic movies are rewatchable. It just happens that way. It's a classic. You can't hate it. You can't hate it.
I feel like this one's for the science nerds too, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely more sci-fi endoused type of deal. But you got the Goldblum and the Gina Davis in there. Those are two classic people. You like seeing them. It's a very comfort factor, you know. So you like watching them. You like seeing them, basically. So that
5?
is it.
Is that 5? No, I was asking. That was a question mark.
Would you let me do it?
I'm sorry.
Thank you. So that is a total of 5 out of 10
Yeah.
for The Fly here on the Sloppy Horror Podcast, right back up in your ass.
And once again, we will reiterate, if we have new listeners, you cannot take that to heart, because if you said, hey, is The Fly, what kind of rating is that, like just out of a movie? It's a 10 out of 10 movie. I love that. But we're breaking down a horror movie here. And the key components, what makes a horror movie a horror movie. And you do need some fear. You need to fear your own life, and you don't really in this movie. You need some kills. You don't really have that much in this movie. Great casting, though. Great acting. Gotta give it that. But this is truly kind of a love story, a unique thing. It's like we're lucky that we get this one. It brushes into our world because of the gore factor. But if he was just sick with another disease, like let's just say he had like cancer or something, like it wouldn't be a horror movie. It's the fact that he's becoming a fly. That's where it's like, okay.
Yeah, that's a little bit scary.
Yeah, that like makes it a different factor.
But this is just an example of what you can expect at the start of the road to Halloween.
Yeah.
Okay? Makes sense to be there. And you can tell by the score.
Mm-hmm.
Motherfucker. Excuse me. As I was saying.
Do we got time for a parental guide dance?
Yeah.
I missed you, mister. Mr. Ozark. Tell him if they're old enough. How old? To watch that scary stuff. It's for the parents who give a ooh boy. See, I was just thinking, I was just contemplating, what kind of age group would be appropriate for this? Well, good thing we got a damn segment for that. Ozark Mark is lucky enough to he's here to rear your children. He's here to help them.
Do not say that shit. What is
He's
wrong
here-
with you? Do not say rear your children. What the
Support them.
no.
Yes.
Just, guide them, you idiot. Not fucking rear them. What the hell are you talking about? That's horrible. That is so horrible.
He's going to guide their rear through this
No,
life.
stop it. Stay away from children's rears. Anything with same sentence. Child and
Excuse
rear.
me, everybody.
No.
Have you ever seen
Stop.
those videos?
You're making it weird.
I always expect it's going to happen when I'm out in a public place where I'm just going to see somebody like, excuse me, everybody, this guy's here to meet a 13-year-old boy. I see those videos all over the internet with those guys like catching the pedos.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I don't know how I would react if that happened. But luckily, we have people that are here to protect children in this world, like Ozark, and he's going to help your children not watch anything too scary. And this movie's kind of funny because there's a little bit of hooking up, but it's kind of like a romance novel hookup. It's not like too graphic. So
No.
I'm curious, what's the age group you think would be comfortable watching The Fly?
All right, well, let's go through it. Do we have sex in it? Barely. I don't even call that sex. Like, they're not even humping right. I mean, it's two people laying naked, basically. And
It's kind of like the after sex.
And there's scenes when they're supposed to be humping, they're not moving. So, like, I don't know what they're doing. I don't know if they're, like, working it or something. They're not even working it. They're not doing it right. So
it's kind of montage-like, too.
a children's mind won't even pick up that it's sex. They think it's something else. I don't even know what the hell that is. But so it's not that bad. You get a little side boob in there. but you know who hasn't seen side boob before? No drugs. Not really that violent. There's some little bit of gore and violence, just melting flesh and shit, which is actually kind of cool.
The arm break.
Yeah, the arm break is a little there, but it's not even that bad. A 10-year-old could watch this.
I think so too, man.
Once they hit the double digits, they're fine.
I think so too.
You know.
Because
But you also got to keep in mind that if you're going to show this to a child, they have to be competent enough to focus on a movie and understand what's going on too.
I agree.
Because this is very story based, and you know, I think younger children won't have enough patience or the mindset to even pay attention to this.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep. I do know what you mean. I think it would definitely miss a few, but I didn't want to speak out of pocket before that, but I was thinking like, man, I feel like you could bring some younger people into that. And this is, you know, you got young kids getting into the Halloween, getting into spooky shit, getting into horror. I know that feeling of like, man, I want to show you the world, but there's just certain stuff that like, I just don't want to watch with you yet. Just like, I'm not worried about you being fucked up. I just don't want to watch graphic fucking on screen next to you because it is uncomfortable for me. I don't want people like ripping rails of coke and then like sucking a dick and then being like, then Jason coming and blowing their head off. And it's like, I care less about getting your head blown off versus like the other shit because you're like, I don't want to give you context yet.
Yeah, it's just uncomfortable. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to watch what you watch on your phone by yourself. I don't want to watch that with you yet.
No, at all. Now, you know, you get to a point, like, you know, once they get to be, like, teenagers and shit, like, and it's, like, it's a little bit easier for you to, like, watch things with them. But, like, when they're on that cusp and you're like, man, I don't want to, like, push them into anything crazy. Because, like, my youngest, I always, like, those movies that don't have the graphic sex or drugs, and she's like, if she starts pestering me, like, I want to watch this, I can watch it. And it's like, all right, well, let's take the training wheels off and see how you do. And if she gets to a moment where she's like, well, we turn it off. We'll put something else on. We'll put on fucking Aladdin. Change the whole mindset. But there's some where it's just like, don't skip a beat. Like, she's like, fuck this. This ain't scary. Like, I mean, she'll like the movie. It's just interesting to see how they handle it. But if you've got a kid at that cusp, I feel like this might be one you could really pull them into. And I don't feel like it's a mind corrupter. Like, I mean, I love Terrifiers. I love movies like that. But it's like not... This movie isn't necessarily educational, but it's
just
stimulating.
It's just heavily story based, and it's acting. Majority is acting, so kids just they can't focus on that. Like they're just they're like squirrel, and they just see something else. Like you need the flashing lights and fucking movements and music and all kinds of crap. No, these are actors. It's like a play almost. Half the time. So that's not going to do very well in the younger demographic because they have no attention span. So you got to keep that in mind, you know.
I'm happy though with my kiddos. I made them watch movies since they were little, but it's like these certain things like you forget what you've made them watch, but there's like certain ones because like my son will always be the funniest because like he will never remember the title. He'll be like, "Dad, what's that one?" Where like that old guy was like tied in that bed. And then that like crazy lady made him like write a book, and then she cut his ankles off. I'm like, cut his ankles off? That doesn't even make sense. Yeah, it's misery. He's like, yeah, like that one,
That one.
But it's so funny because you're like, oh, they do remember like it because a good story. It's like I mean, you remember Goldilocks, you remember Hansel and Gretel, you remember the like. You don't love those stories, but a good story's hard to fucking forget.
Right.
And I think certain movies fall in that, and it is weird the ones they remember. So I'm happy we checked this one off, man. It's a long time coming. I know we mentioned it a lot. I hope you guys are enjoying it, by the way. If you guys are, be sure to like the video, throw a comment, let us know if you're excited for the Sloppy Road to Halloween, what you hope to see. And also, let me know if you guys ordered any of those t-shirts. We're going to have something fun in store for you guys later in the season. So you guys, keep your dick in the pot because we're moving, baby. We're chug-a-lug-a-lugging. And we're going to be back next Monday with another episode.
Did you just say keep your dick in the pot?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I stir it with.
Oh, God.
Yep. Yeah, baby. Oh, yeah. You know what I mean? I'm not above fucking a Hot Pocket. I don't have... Gotta get a good thermometer.
All right. Well, That's a good way to end that for the people there. So,
Hey, I'm letting you know right now, I'm an adult and I don't play. I'm an adult and I don't play. I'm an adult and I don't play. All right? I consider that to be child's play. I did say that 3 times, didn't I? All right. That's the only thing I'm going to say. Now, it's been a great episode. It's been a great episode.
yes. And now we have to go now.